Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. I think people need to stop being so surprised at news that is just completely logical at this point. Because for some reason, this was incredibly popular news, and sure, why not? Binance has revealed that they're planning on expanding their monitoring tag thing. This is a thing that nearly every single cryptocurrency exchange has. Monitoring tag across 10 different coins that began sometime around the early parts of January. The issue is, now there's a lot of issues, but one of the main problems is that a lot of these coins within the cryptocurrency ecosystem should not exist. They were created simply as a cash grab, and I want to say the largest portion of them. The other portion that tried a little bit to have a bit of the original idea of Bitcoin, and I might extend that onto Ethereum as well, decided years ago that they wanted to go full opposite direction and have private transactions. This has been a discussion since 2015, 2016, where I told a lot of you, I said this like a video or two ago as well, this was never going to actually work out and or be a thing. But part of the problem is that whenever a cryptocurrency company, a cryptocurrency exchange like Binance, like Coinbase, we just had news, I think it's OKX, is also doing the exact same thing. And they announced that they're going to be delisting these coins. People completely lose their minds and they begin to scream decentralization. You can't do this. These coins have a right to exist. And then you go, well, once again, you're working with a company who is centralized, who might say that they care about decentralization, but at the very end of it, when it comes to all the regulatory pressure that's happening right now, there's a slim chance that they're going to keep these coins on their platform to appease maybe you and 6,000 other people, as opposed to delisting them so that their company can continue to exist. The coins apparently, it says it has only two here. They're Monero and Zcash, the same exact ones that we heard from OKX. According to a press release, the newly incorporated tokens on the monitoring tag list are Keeper V1. What even is that? Reef, Aragon, Firo, Mobile Coin, MDEX, Vi, that is VAI, and Horizon, along with Zcash and Monero. I would assume they've already delisted. What's the other one? Dash is also the other one as well. Concurrently, Binance will be removing the seed tag. No idea what that is. I guess maybe this coin has a chance to grow. From GMX and from SushiSwap as well. The move comes amid increasing attempts by Binance to bolster risk management after attempting to okay, whatever. They're talking about all this stuff with Changpeng Cao. Cool. Awesome. I would assume the bulk of you should have known a number of years ago. Maybe not to have coins that have private transactions as part of your portfolio. That is to say, if you want to use them in everyday life and you have found a legal way to do so in the country that you're in, fantabulous. But for everyone else, similar to, investing in a stable coin, this was never going to work out. This was very, very popular news. I think even anytime that we have news that there might be a listing and or a delisting of a number of cryptocurrencies, it's going to make popular news. But this just happens to be a lot of coins that people are holding or thought would be great or amazing or whatever. I still see a lot of people talking about these coins online, mainly Zcash, Monero, and Dash, as like this, these coins will be the future for people who want to have private transactions. And I'm like, cool, as long as you are in the mindset that these are only going to be for people who are trying to get around sanctions and other things to be able to have private transactions as opposed to actually having these to make money, then I'm glad you know that. So cool. These have all been added to the potential delisting list. I am nearly certain if there's any kind of delisting that will be going on, we will have another 1,000 news stories that will be about it as well. And people will be completely going insane talking about how dare Binance do this. And once again, they're a centralized exchange. That's the Binance potentially delisting 10 different coins news. And yeah, let's move on. This is me personally. I think that people are forgetting what life is supposed to be like. So for those of you who missed it, Microstrategy continues to buy an egregious amount of Bitcoin. We had news sometime around October, for those of you not looking at the screen. It says they bought around 14,620 Bitcoin for $615 million in cash between the 20th of November to the 26th of December. That was also major news as well, that a company that continues to buy Bitcoin bought even more Bitcoin. The most recent Bitcoin cash cost Microstrategy roughly around $42,000 per Bitcoin. Microstrategy alone, just one company, now holds an eye-popping 189,150 Bitcoin, purchased at an average price of around 31,168. MicroStrategy is the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin as well. So this is my opinion. I'm sure there will be some who agree with me and others who will not. The current path that we're on, and timing is a wonderful thing, because I saw people talking crap about me on Twitter, and I don't know why people think that the stuff that they're writing publicly about me as they tag me in something isn't going to also show up to me or on my page, but alas, here we are. People were complaining that as they watch my videos that I complain too much. I'm constantly saying I wish more people paid attention. I wish more people had Bitcoin. And I forgot what their answer was or wherever they were talking about, but it was something along the lines of like, I wish he would shut up about that. And it's like, the entire point of crypto is for people like you. Yes, you, even the complainer, the person who's been watching my channel for 6 years and continues writing terrible comments here and or on Twitter. You know, it's still for you as well. The entire idea of Bitcoin for everyone mainly comes down to we are 8 billion people on the planet. We are currently in a situation where there are 3 people on the planet who hold more wealth than 4 billion people on the planet. Like I said, some of you will agree and some of you will disagree, because I always lived by the idea I would love a more equal world. I would love if things were a little more evenly spread. But I've noticed before, no, a lot of people don't feel that way. A lot of people are totally fine being at the top of the castle while other people have different situations. So for those of you who will listen, the idea is that MicroStrategy has been buying Bitcoin for a very long time. When I complain, when I moan, when I get really annoyed, and I say I wish more people paid attention, it's because these people are already wealthy. They already hold the wealth. The point of Bitcoin is that, and was that, it is easily accessible for everyone to be able to acquire some. So that we would eventually get to a point where there's no longer a situation where you, listening to this right now, see someone across the street or whatever who's worth $85 billion while you have $15 in your bank account. It would kind of, even things out more for everyone. The fact that this one company alone is holding such a vast majority of the Bitcoin out there should be raising alarms for a lot of people. Because once again, the point was, it's supposed to be for everyone. When you talk about that and I know some people have already mentally signed off because you don't really care about other people. When you talk about a company having this much Bitcoin, it literally takes away from hundreds of millions of other people. Imagine a situation. Now, listen to this. Imagine a situation where we get to a future where Bitcoin actually ends up going to $1, $10, or $100 million per coin. Cool. You have half a Bitcoin. You're doing well. Now, what about the other people on the planet who will never own any, nonetheless, maybe like a couple hundred Satoshis, because of the amount that Microstrategy has? And then I started seeing a lot of other things floating around talking about their future plans and what they are trying to actually do. For those of you who don't know, this was, I guess, mimicked by Max Keiser. Apparently what Microstrategy is trying to do is that they're actually trying to acquire 5% of all Bitcoin in the world. This is equivalent to over 1 million Bitcoin. If there will only ever be 21 million, and 6 million's lost and gone forever, and we have 19 million that have been created, that leads us around how many? 13, 14 million that are actually up for grabs. That would mean that they would hold 1 out of every 14 coins, and that's just this one company. You want to talk about like actual centralization? You want to talk about us like literally going back into the dark ages once again, where there's one company. Imagine every single US dollar that there is, and there was one company who held 1 out of every 14 US dollars. That's why I told you all to look up before. A lot of people, and I know it's something that maybe everyone isn't paying attention to. I pay very heavy attention to the actual acquisition of land and property that's currently going on right now. And I've told you before, if you get a chance to look it up, there are families on this planet who literally own like 10, 15, 20% of entire major cities, not cities like with an S. And that's just one family. And we know that there are multiple other families who are doing the exact same thing. And this is also causing property prices to rise even higher. So the news in the beginning is that Microstrategy has purchased more Bitcoin. Everyone goes completely insane. It's abundantly clear why they're doing this. It has to do with the ETF. It's them knowing how scarce that this thing actually is. I'm not sure where the skepticism comes from. I'm also not sure how people can watch my videos not agreeing with what I'm saying or how I sound or the way that I say it. That's been happening for a number of years now. And I know the vast majority of you are like actually lovely people. I talk to you a lot on here in the comment section or on Twitter and stuff like I get it, but I don't understand how like you can be a hater but still watch me. It's just the weirdest thing in the entire world. And also the idea that like you could be okay with one company owning like that would literally put us back into the old system again. Now, they're trying to acquire 1 million Bitcoin. It's just a matter of if they'll actually be able to do so. But I just always hope in some sort of way. Maybe it's because other crypto YouTubers have like a general different tone when they have videos and stuff like that. Maybe you're used to that. Maybe you're used to this idea of like greed, power, glory, get as much as you can, as opposed to being like, hey, maybe we should all be sharing and also just kind of all be rich together, as opposed to like you having to feel more superior to other people. But that's also another conversation in and of itself. But yeah, if they end up owning 5% of all Bitcoin, it defeats the purpose of what cryptocurrencies are for. It's not so that these people can become worth $40 trillion while you and your family, live off of 300,000 Satoshis for the rest of your life. It's kind of yeah, cool, fantastic. A lot of people, of course, loved what Max Keiser said. I don't get that. Like, I don't mentally understand how you could, because you would never. So I read books before. I read watch a lot of documentaries, and there's a lot of the mindset. It is believed that the mindset of a lot of people who look up to billionaires is that these people estimate or believe that one day they could attain the same level of wealth. So you'll see this a lot when people talk about Warren Buffett or other people of the similar status. They look up to these people because the idea is that one day they could also obtain that same exact level of wealth, and therefore they kind of aspire to be them. The odds of that happening are literally slim to none, that people would be able to acquire 1 billion, nonetheless $200 billion over the course of their lifetime. And the idea that like, if you can't acquire an entire Bitcoin right now, There's no way to look up to these people and go, wow, they own 1 million Bitcoin and I don't have jack diddly squat. Like it's who knows what Microstrategy is going to be doing with their money, with their coins or what have you. But as I've said before, me complaining and always whining, we are entering into a future that is only going to be beneficial to those who have crypto. This is the way that I at least see it. And I do myself worry about the ramifications of what that means for billions of other people. If you've been watching the news or seeing how things are currently going. But anyway, cool. Fantastic. The accumulation does continue. If you get a chance, I'll try and post it. I think I took a screenshot of it. I saw someone talk about it and I was like, finally, I got it. Someone posted a video of, or like an image of Bitcoin's inflation rate, air quotes, inflation rate, like how much is being created comparative to how much will actually be created by the machine as the halvings continue happening. And I was correct. I'll try and post it once again on Twitter. It is 2032. 2032 is like when the number basically like hits rock bottom as far as like how much is being created. And then by the time we get to 2040, like it looks ridiculous. Like there's basically no Bitcoin being created. And then we still would have another 100 years of Bitcoin mining left. Like a literal 100. Anyway, that's the I would love if billions of other people on the planet also acquired Bitcoin as well, so that they could also share in the wealth if it does end up going to $1, $10, or $100 million. And yeah, let's move on. Also, in an incredibly popular news, I got it, but I also didn't really understand the fanfare behind this one. Former executives of Citigroup will apparently be offering Bitcoin-backed securities. According to a Bloomberg report published on the 4th of January, former Citigroup executives will be offering BTC-backed securities that apparently they do not need approval from the SEC from. I'm not sure exactly how that works out, especially if you're offering securities, but go for it. It says the move will see the issuer issue what is known as a receipts depository. Yeah, that's not depository. Depository corporation, or an RDC. The securities will be Bitcoin depository receipts that function similar to American depository receipts, representing foreign stocks. According to the company, the BTCDR offering will provide institutions with access to securities through the U.S. regulated market infrastructure and will be cleared through the Depository Trust Co. The key difference from a Bitcoin ETF will be that the depository receipts, offer direct ownership of Bitcoin to qualified institutions, which RDC says will be the first of its kind to do so. So it looks like what they're trying to do is not actually have to go through the SEC at all. They're going to offer receipts that say that the company that they're giving it to also owns the Bitcoin related to the receipt. And therefore, as it is not a trust or a fund, they're able to kind of bypass the SEC for it. According to the issuers, purchasing Bitcoin is not preferred for some regulated institutions as cryptocurrency markets face challenges. What's a marketages? Including security risks and regulatory uncertainty. The RDC proposal will provide a product that will be a complement to the Bitcoin ETF. Sure. And I mean like very popular news. There's no time frame at all to when or if these are going to be listed or be created or be available for people. It seems that these will probably only be available to institutional investors, very rich companies, corporations, and things like that. I still have so many, and I want to say logical questions as to why a lot of, I assume it has to do with the taxation reasoning, as far as like, buying a commodity as opposed to buying a security that if you held it for a certain amount of time, therefore, then when you sell it, maybe, taxation is lower, long-term capital gains and all that other stuff. But I'm always perplexed as to why companies continue to behave as if they cannot or would not buy Bitcoin OTC or through a crypto exchange or other means, but they can only buy it if someone hands them a receipt that says that they own it. It's the same exact thing. Like, have you ever heard stories? This is crazy. I remember years ago, years before I even thought about getting into crypto, I thought about getting into gold and silver. And one of the things that like really shook me was like a lot of people or people online were like, you should buy gold. I think they're called receipts, basically like certificates. So like someone hands you a certificate that says, hey, you own X amount of gold. And then at some point when you want to like redeem it, you can like hand it back to them and like get money for it or whatever. But like you're never actually holding the gold. And apparently the way that I read it online is that if you were holding, you yourself were holding an entire bar of gold, you as an issuer are actually able to declare or give away more certificates than you actually hold, because similar to a bank, you're never expecting everyone to do a run at the exact same time. But then also, this reminds me as well of the idea of what people like Andreas Antonopoulos said a number of years ago, where they were all talking. Yeah, I remember him specifically talking about, like, he said in the future, banks will do the exact same thing. So a bank may only, air quotes, a bank may only have 100 Bitcoin, but they loan out as if they have 20,000 Bitcoin, which also then like completely warps the entire idea of everything. So this must be some type of an old school thinking to be able to, or even as a company to be like, we don't want to hold the asset. We want to hold a piece of paper that says that we do, but the point of the asset, the point of Bitcoin is to know that you have it, to be able to verify yourself that you are in control of it, that you can liquidate it and or move it around as you see fit. You don't have to go through a company who goes through the SEC, who does something else, who has to give you something that you then have to redeem through. It's a whole bunch of nonsense, but I think this will also become a very major talking point in the future, because a lot of companies they're definitely going to be acquiring Bitcoin just through the acquisition of shares from ETFs. That is going to, like, it's just going to be the way that it works. And I do wonder, like, how that's going to work in a lot of other countries when people start lying about exactly how much Bitcoin they have, because they won't actually, at some point, someone's going to mess up on all of this, because, a lot of times people are not very honest in their workings. But cool. Former Citigroup executives are going to be doing something like this. No word on when it's going to be released or what exactly is going to be the thing behind it or how they're able to bypass the SEC. But I feel like this might not be something as popular simply because I feel like BlackRock, Fidelity, Van Eck, and Grayscale would have just simply done this instead. That's the other way to get companies to buy Bitcoin news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in, of course, very popular news, Morgan Creek Capital founder and CEO, his name is Mark Yusko, has apparently said that the cryptocurrency industry has a very strong positive prospectus for the year 2024. In a new interview on the Dales Report, it's not Dallas, the Dales Report, Yusko said that 2024 is going to be an incredibly powerful year for crypto, aided by the alignment of various factors. He said that's kind of what we have coming into 2024. We have He said we have this celestial alignment of all the things, all the cycles. So we have the 4-year cycle in Bitcoin. The halving happens in April or May, depending on the blocks, but that's going to happen. We got this wave of liquidity that's about to be unleashed with the approval of ETFs. You also have the idea, for those of you who missed it a couple of months ago, a lot of the numbers were, a lot of people believe that we are going to see anywhere between $6 to $10 trillion. That is 6-10 trillion worth of money entering the cryptocurrency market over the course of the next 12 to 18 months because of ETFs. He said, we've got this cyclical wave of it looks like the economy is slowing down. Therefore, the Federal Reserve is going to go back to accommodation, which will devalue the dollar more. For those of you who also missed it, we have gotten news that this year the Fed is going to be lowering interest rates around 3 times over the course of this year. The economy still is not doing too hot, as was predicted a while ago. And the idea is that they will have to use methods, lowering interest rates, to kind of pump up money back into the economy again, but it will not be enough. As we've seen, a number of other countries have already begun to turn back on the faucet. They are reprinting money. It was not as much as before, but it's still a lot comparative to what they say that they have always wanted to do. And if the US dollar does this, of course, it will benefit other markets as well. He said the Fed's going to go back to accommodation, which will devalue the dollar more, which means if we price Bitcoin in dollars, the price of Bitcoin goes up. According to the hedge fund veteran, the crypto industry might also benefit from a technological wave as a result of new talent potentially entering the space. He says, this is the part that I don't align with any of the things that he's actually saying here. He said basically that 650,000 people were laid off from big tech, and he thinks that all these people are basically going to turn to crypto and be like, hey, that's where I make my money now. I don't know. I think a lot of people will tend to probably stay in their own fields. It's not to say that these people would not move over or give crypto a chance, but there's a very slim chance of a lot of that happening. We have a lot. There's just so much happening this year. Like, it is going to be, I believe, an exponentially crazy year. I think a lot of people aren't ready for it. You think I'm joking, and I think when people hear stuff like this, like, you don't really understand until it actually happens to you. During the 2021, I remember at the beginning of 2021, I had a lot of friends who were just getting into crypto, and I was telling them, I was like, the market's a little wild right now because all they saw were that prices were going up, and I was trying to convey to them that, like, you're going to lose your mind. You're going to get into this market. You're going to see how much money you're making. You're going to see all these things, and, like, you won't really know what to do. People sometimes don't know when to cash out. People just look at the market. They see that it's going up. They assume that it's going to go up forever. People start taking out loans on their houses and I mean other things as well. There was so many people and so many stories every single cycle who are taking out like $20, $30, $40, $50,000 loans at their local bank, and then the market collapses. There's just so much happening. But, like, we're in a very particular time right now. 2024 has always been the time that's meant to be like the beginning of the Bitcoin madness. Like, it's meant to be the time where the market, like, organically was going to go insane. You tie that up with the ETFs. You tie that up with, like, the economy not doing well, the Fed having to start printing money again, lowering interest rates. Like, we are caught in the middle of this really crazy cycle right now that might also just kind of continue a lot longer than we're actually expecting. But yeah, as always, it's nice to see. It is very nice to always see a lot of positivity in the market as opposed to people being very blasé or being very negative about stuff, because this is what normally tends to happen as the cryptocurrency market prices are going down. But yeah, it's nice to be here. It's just more of a, as always, I want to see where it's going to go, like how high we will get. I don't have it in this video, but as you might have imagined, there are like daily price predictions for Bitcoin, where it's going to go. The numbers are ridiculous. There's someone recently who was talking about over $1 million. There's a lot of like over 500,000, over 600,000 liquidity crunches. There's not enough Bitcoin left, supply crunch, you name it. They're all over the place. A lot of people, I don't know if these people believe it themselves or not, but they say that their charts are showing all these crazy numbers, and it's like, okay, we'll see when we get there. Time moves forward, or, you know, the concept of time, but we'll see if we actually end up getting to those numbers, because if, you know, Bitcoin does get to 500,000, that means the altcoins have also completely lost their minds as well. But yeah, I think we're going to have a very, I'm literally crossing my fingers right now. Crossing my fingers that we all have an incredible year, not just some of us. I want everyone to benefit from this market. That's why I always try and tell you, a lot of people have a fear of if they're too late to get into the market, We literally have 100 years left. Like you're earlier than you could possibly begin to imagine. I do sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, and your week. Wherever you are, wherever you might be, I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.